J.D. Vance, you are a Nazi Brownshirt. You are a Nazi Brownshirt. Your disgusting crime is rape, murder, pillage, loot, and poisoned wool blankets. You ridiculous, cowardly terrorist. You are holding Hitler's weapons, boy. You follow your master, the donor of the falsehood. You are a Darvo spitter. You are an embodier of an Antichrist life. You are a Nazi Brownshirt. Donald Trump and Project 2025 are linked by more than J.D. Vance's foreword. The chief architect of Kids in Cages is M. The Nazi Brownshirt. M. Who is M? Stephen Miller is the chief architect of Kids in Cages. He wants the White House. He is a monster. He was marked with white chalk by someone in the street who heard him whistle before he murdered a child, as portrayed by Peter Lorre. Some time before M himself stood on the ground. What does it take to love the words of Adolf Hitler? Ask Stephen Miller, and ask the gentleman with whom he is perturbing and terrorizing the world. Not just Americans, certainly Americans. Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance are part of a vanguard of ridiculous Nazi traitors to America and traitors to human family. There is no reason for anyone who knows the truth and is not corrupt to be afraid of the truth. But M wants to outrun the truth, and J.D. Vance may not even have it upstairs in the booth to recognize that he can also withstand the truth. Some people maybe don't even choose to embody the evil they embody. I'm not convinced that J.D. Vance is smart enough or agile enough to understand just what white hood he's wearing. But Stephen Miller is another story. M is a violent, dark triad predator, like Donald Trump or Elon Musk. People who want to put you over a barrel use shocking boundary violations. We are in an abusive relationship. We're in an abusive relationship with the falsehood. Who is the falsehood? Who possibly could be the one responsible for donning this bizarre age in which fact has been dissolved? Who could it be? Who possibly? Who in the world? Who could have donned the falsehood? We may never know. Indeed, we may never know. You are in an abusive relationship. He told us how he would do it. He said that he would keep us in suspense, and he did, and we are. Because we submitted to his hypothesis that we're going to give him extra deference, that he's in charge. Donald Trump is a dangerous mind because he does not want to win, he wants to conquer. And you are part of lunch. You are in an abusive relationship with someone who has your communication details and can send a message to you every day, hundreds of times. That doesn't sound good. Shocking boundary violations are how a dark triad predator asserts coercive claim. You are in an abusive relationship.
You are in an abusive relationship. Shocking boundary violations are one common grooming tactic of a narcissist or dark triad personality. If someone in your life points into a camera knowing you'll be looking at the view screen and pulls their finger like a trigger, looking into your eyes, saying, I could shoot someone in the street and not lose anyone, it is a good indicator of a bad situation. You are in an abusive relationship. Who has leveraged and climbed upon a fog of falsehood? Who has donned the falsehood? Who is the falsehood?
Shocking boundary violations are how lynch mob brain syndrome spreaders use white suspicion to sow havoc. Shocking boundary violations, like declaring, "I could kill you and not lose anyone," or like pointing at part of our community and saying, "They are evil," or like hiring someone and calling them the best and then degrading them in front of your staff before degrading them in front of people. Using not one shocking, ridiculous insult, but 50. It is a constant assault of shocking boundary violations, telling us that he gets to grab our top secret documents because he already declassified our genitals with his mind. We are in an abusive relationship with a dark triad predator, a violent man who will not leave. And a Nazi Brownshirt coward like J.D. Vance is trying to waddle through the breach. How do you goose step and waddle? Watch the blurb of hate and dull malice that is J.D. Vance. Just like M, just like Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk, we have a white terrorist murder coaxer. These are lynch mob brain syndrome spell spreaders. Shocking boundary violations, like terrible accusations said again and again and again and again with no basis, cementing every time for their believers a deference of swallowing an unbelievable pill, a ritual, a Eucharist that is unbelievable. That the ritual and the Eucharist is swallowing a shape that is not swallowable, a shape that is wrong, and that is false, and that is a lie, as a means of supplication and submission, and of the entire theft of confidence. He asked you for the watch. Donald asked you for the watch. And when we asked if he would take it fairly, if he would follow the vote, and when asked if he would obey that and adhere to a peaceful transfer of power, he said, "I will keep you in suspense." And that was when the submission took hold. We have to say no when someone tries to negotiate the terms of service. That's called a predator. And we are in a fog of hokum and of normalized spewed hate, because brown shirts are even polluting the tone of news. How many times, when hearing stories about the Nazi assault on Americans and American immigrants who are legal immigrants, as well as guests of this country, to hear shocking boundary violations of degradation and dehumanization and truly Hitler-esque Nazi talking points. How many times have you heard this described by the accusations made? How many times have you heard about this attack by Donald Trump and Nazi Brownshirt J.D. Vance? How many times have you heard it talked about with the same lynch mob language, the same rumor? Nazi brownshirts are dangerous to themselves and to humanity. And Nazi brownshirts are polluting our airwaves. Nazi brownshirts should be thrown from the public square, gently, and they can know exactly where. If you are bringing the weaponry of hatred into public or into discourse with others, you're asking for therapy or jail, J.D. Vance. You're asking for therapy and or jail, Stephen Miller. You're asking for therapy and or jail, J.D. Vance. You don't try to remove no-fault divorce unless you want rape to be legal, J.D. Vance. You are a monster. You do not belong in power. This is a primer. This is a brief statement of how your complicity with the ridiculous Nazi Heritage Foundation and how a path of sowing falsehood that endangers humanity, and certainly America, is the sweep of your footsteps, Chun-Li. Fuck your fleecing. Cuff your fleecing. And cuff your violent, deadly, stochastic terrorism, and your deadly threats. Cuff you. Cuff you, J.D. Vance. Cuff you. Cuff the donor of the falsehood. Cuff your fleecing. Cuff your fleecing. We see you. When we look at Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation, we see a white hood because you are a Ku Klux cuck. And your 180-degree mirror flips and projection of your own crimes as accusations upon others are fantastical and false and deadly. Yes, there is an invasion happening. Yes, the boundary we need to hold is tenuous. And the boundary we need to hold is of reality and human decency. Who has donned the falsehood? Donald Trump's Project 2025 is led in part by his chief architect of Kids in Cages, Stephen Miller. J.D. Vance is a happy camper within the movement to make women slaves. J.D. Vance is a Nazi. Unsurprisingly, massive distortions in the field of reality can break up our ability to sow executive function or to know even what's happening. But when a person like Kevin Roberts makes a deadly threat against everyone in America, that's called Brownshirt death threat. This violent terrorist should be in jail right now, because these kinds of shocking boundary violations are how dark triad predators assert they get to do it. We are at a Sudetenland moment with this ridiculous, paltry coward. He needs therapy and or jail. He has no business in human society. None. Not one scrap of business to attend to until he atones for this terroristic threat. He is an enemy of the United States, and this statement states it in his own words. He is an enemy of the United States, and the Heritage Foundation is a bastion of Ku Klux cucked Nazi fucks who all have been fucked by the Ku Klux Klan's mindfuck. And you are a danger to yourselves and others if you are part of this group. You need help. And help is here. Therapy is ready. And jails are ready too. But therapy is where we really need you. We need people who have been hoodwinked by a devastating, shocking, boundary violation riddled assault. A siege of over 8 years is not a joke. We are all in an abusive relationship with the falsehood. We are in an abusive relationship with the permeating hokum fog caused by the breach of one donor, of a cowl, of a false identity. I don't know if we will ever know the true identity of this one. Who could they be? But I think we all know that they told us they would keep us in suspense and then began to actually. And now it's time to talk about other ridiculous, sad-eyed cowards like Kevin Roberts. Kevin Roberts, get help, because you will be disassembled if you bring your violence into the street. And because your crime is happening right now. These terroristic Nazi brownshirts know that intimidation is torture and breaks down the function of people, that intimidation hurts people. They want to kill people. They are criminals. People who want to sow crime, like Kevin Roberts, and threaten bloody conquest of a nation, are criminals. If this is a neighborhood and not a war scene, then he gets therapy, or he gets consequences. No one threatens the United States. No one threatens to keep us in suspense. You get the trap door if that's your final answer. No one threatens they're going to come and take our kids if you don't like how they're raised, or going to come and harm people. No one comes and tells us that our bloody 922-page plan is going to be bloodless if you get out of our way, without us realizing you are the boogeyman you've been warning us about all along, poison wool blankets huckster. You have donned the falsehood. While you are not intelligent enough, you have the will to want to be diabolical enough. But you alone could not decimate and breach through the band of fact and explode a hole. But once it was broken, you started focusing your hokum, Kevin. We need to see Kevin Roberts cry for help, just like we're hearing J.D. Vance's cry for help, like we should hear these cries for help, and say, how and where would you like to be seen by mental health professionals? Because your behavior is totally unacceptable, and it's to jail now if you are refusing to rescind your statements and apologize to your community and seek mental health care. You just confessed you want to kill people, little boy. J.D. Vance, you just confessed that some people are not people to you, little boy. J.D. Vance, you just confessed that you sow falsehood to create fear and sensation, little boy. J.D. Vance, would you like to come to Minneapolis and answer 5 questions? Would you like to answer 5 questions? Because I don't think you have the stones. I don't think the stones that were put into your head to balance out what was missing. I don't think that you have the gonads. I don't think that you have the executive function to answer questions in a segment here on the Mystery Font called 5 Questions. I think you are a coward. And you are a terrorist. Where we are, JD, is we know because you have told us. We know that you are a rapist booster. We know that you are a pedophile raper booster. You are a booster of one of the best known sexual assaulters of all time. You are a booster of one of the most degrading, defiling, and categorically cruel human beings known in human history. You smile when people ask you about why you're using the language of Hitler. You smile. You are a patriarchal terrorist, JD. You are a ridiculous, ridiculous predator. No one should trust you with anything. No one should trust your murdering, lying, raping eyes. No one should be listening to J.D. Vance because that would be suicide. Look who he follows. Look who he follows. Why in the world would we be so stupid? Why would anyone be so stupid? We are in an abusive relationship with the falsehood. And JD, you are aware of what you're doing. You're aware of what you're doing. Somehow, you ridiculous Nazi terrorists actually have newscasters repeating your vile, Nazi-minted, degrading, dehumanizing accusations against members of our community. Not only do you have people doing that, rather than calling the crime out specifically, that you, J.D. Vance, are a fucking Brownshirt. You're a Brownshirt, and people should knock your head off of your shoulders if you walk into the street and continue to talk that way. It's dangerous, deadly language, and you are endangering yourself and others. So letting you know, as a person who is peaceful, you are asking for therapy or jail. You're asking for therapy or jail because brown shirts don't get to be here threatening people. What did you think? It was 1939? No. No. How dare you? You smile, not answering why you're degrading people. You smile. You smile and belittle moment. What is time if it is a joke? What is crime if it's a joke? J.D. Vance is a Nazi. He is a brown shirt, and his word is less than smoke. How dare you? You are Nazis. You don't get the deference of us listening to your advice about anything. You are a predator. You are a rapist. Rapist boosters are rapists. And you're a rapist, boy. The answer is no! That's our answer. No one talks to our community like that. Immigrants to America are part of our community. No one talks to us like that. No one. No one talks to us like that. You will stop. You and Kevin Roberts and Donald Trump will stop, or you will be stopped. By Americans, by patriots, by the new Colossus. How slow is a clap that happens once? You are brown shirts, and you will be treated exactly as dunce. Get yourself therapy. Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh, Tim Pool, J.D. Vance, Ron DeSantis, Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk. Get yourself therapy. Russell Brand, you Ku Klux Cock. Get therapy. Get therapy now. The falsehood has you by the bitsies. The falsehood has you. And you are turning your grip to dust. The human family has room. And the tolerance paradox means that we tolerate. We're tolerant. We just don't tolerate intolerance. And we definitely don't wait around for brown shirts to admit they're Nazis. No! No, Elon Musk, you're not defending free speech. You are a dangerous, out of control, sad, emotionally unskilled individual. And we see your cry for help. Kevin Roberts, you are not well. And we hear and see your cry for help. JD Vance, you are not well. And you are super, super weird. You are weird as in you hold the Hitler particle of intense sexual shame and devastating, lethal shame that turns inside out and becomes lynch mob brain syndrome, pointing at scapegoats and creating villains, because you don't know that right behind you, the lie you're running from, is one that we can all undisguise together. Humanity is a neighborhood, and you're making it dangerous. And brown shirts and white hoods, your presence as that will not be tolerated anymore on planet Earth, and certainly not in America. We hear your cry for help, and we're here to help. You sad, beautiful, ridiculous Nazis need help. If you care about your heritage, map into the part of it that is something to do with culture other than hate. Or if you're having trouble with that, talk to your therapist about it. Because if you bring this violence into public or threaten it, you will be brought to therapy or to jail. I love you and I'm in love with you, as in we're all particles and part of making a world built with love. What is it that Elon is railing against so much? Human kindness and decency, diversity, equity, inclusion, wokeness. Yeah, basically the message of Jesus Christ is what he is attacking. And likewise, J.D. Vance and other rapists and murderers, violent people like Stephen Miller, M., seek to punish need. And I need you to know that love is available to all human family. You can come back to the table of human family. You just can't bring your cook a cancer. He says he wouldn't, but I definitely he maybe would do it, though. I think everything he said all along says that he actually has absolute authority. Everything, every gesture, every word, everything he's ever said tells us that we should realize he believes he is in charge and should be the one deferred to, believed, listened to while the house burns about what kind of material we should be building our houses out of. He is doing that constantly while advertising that he would never do that. And we somehow have taken up the advertisement and ask, is this good for him? I mean, he wouldn't do that. And is this, by the way, good for him, this new thing? As opposed to saying, is there any way we can release ourselves from having submitted to the pernicious falsehood? Maybe if we could somehow realize the identity of the falsehood, then somehow maybe we could ever escape their grasp. What say you? Who has donned the falsehood?
You are in an abusive relationship. Shocking boundary violations are one common grooming tactic of a narcissist or dark triad personality. If someone in your life points into a camera knowing you'll be looking at the view screen and pulls their finger like a trigger, looking into your eyes, saying, "I could shoot someone in the street and not lose anyone," it is a good indicator of a bad situation. You are in an abusive relationship. Who has leveraged and climbed upon a fog of falsehood? Who has donned the falsehood? Who is the falsehood?
It's really time. It's just, I mean, I look around and I guess I have to look inside for the words to find those words. Just to say, you're part of humankind, JD, but you're not acting like it. There aren't inferior people. You're just acting like there are. You're just acting like the same people who have been acting inferior for so long that I would just call poisoned wool blankets, JD. So you and M and Kevin Roberts, please get a lift to therapy, because we're not going to tolerate you dehumanizing or attacking communities as you have already, sowing violence. You have stochastically attacked and violently attacked America. The new Colossus will not tolerate your intolerance or your violence.
This time might be the last.